Hello, I'm back after how long? Who knows? Who knows? Listen, I've played 3 new games, you know, in the past month, and I haven't made a single video about them. Why? 'Cause I'm like, oh, I got nothing to say that's like useful to the conversation. But I mean, most that talk, they just say, you know? I have no plan. I'm just gonna freestyle. My goal is to make the worst video on YouTube. Let's talk about Monster Hunter Stories 3. Let's talk about the story. Bro, listen. I know it's called Monster Hunter Stories 3, but I couldn't give less of a shit. Why is that? Well, I don't know about the second one, as I didn't play much of it, but the first one, that story was made for kids, okay? And that's fine. I was just able to write it off because of that and focus more on the gameplay. In this game, though, it was clear they weren't, and I'm guessing they did this in the second game too, because they tried to widen the audience with that one, as it wasn't an exclusive to the 3DS. But I hoped for a better story here, and I gave it a chance. I watched all the cutscenes, read all the dialogue, all the main dialogue, did all the companion quests. It was shit. Thankfully, it's the aspect I cared the least about, and it wasn't so bad that it made me mad. It was more funny than anything, and like, there were a lot of cliche things that happened, you know, tropes. We got fake out deaths and amnesia, but it was very not good. That's a nice way of putting it. And it was very anime-y, which I'm not a massive fan of. Can I be honest? The anime-y-ness of anime is why I don't really watch anime anymore. It's just kind of cringe to me. Sue me. I don't give a fuck. But I will give it credit for one thing. I liked how they tied the characters into the final battle. And the cutscene after you beat the final boss, I liked, with the egg. No spoilers. I'm going to spoil it. 3, 2, 1. You kill the Aegis, whatever the fuck his name is. And then his kid hatches, and the kid, like the parent gets to see the kid alive and his bloodline continue, or his species. I liked that. That got to me a little bit. I felt a little thing in my chest. Besides that, it was shit. As for the companions or the side characters, I can barely remember their names. Let's see if I can remember. We got Ogden. We got Gaul. We got Eleanor. I think one was Thea. Was that the one with the Tobi Kadachi? Thea? And the broad with Gravios. I can't remember her name, even though I used her a lot. Whoa, pause. In battle, like as my companion, battle companion. Did all the companion quests. Eleanor was the most interesting out of the characters because she had a little more substance to her because she was tied to the main story. But none of them really had all that much substance to them. None of the quests had all that much substance to them. I feel like they were trying to do like a Persona thing, like give the characters depth, and it didn't work. I mean, it was the most surface level shit ever. It's like, yeah, someone I cared about died, or yeah, I don't trust this guy, but it's really cause, or fucking, I'm trying to grow up and my dad's not letting me go, even though that literally only happened in like the last, it was shit. They were all shit. I like that they gave you rewards for the characters though, to like power them up. You know, I'm trying to give credit where it's due. I'm hating a lot, but I really enjoyed this game. Let's get to the aspect I enjoyed, like the gameplay. Do I even explain the combat system? You know, okay, I'm just gonna go over it real quick. We got the rock, paper, scissors style combat system where if they use speed, you use technique beats speed, yada, yada, yada. I really like that they added more predictability here. And when the monster would go, he would act up. I can't remember what it was called. Enraged. When the monster would get enraged and switch his attacks, most of the time I thought it was random. I'm pretty sure, unless they use a special move, the attack they would switch to would be the one attack that wasn't used in battle. So if they use technique first and I use power to counter technique, they would switch to technique and then I would use speed. So I would be the one using the attack that wasn't used in battle. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. If it isn't, then it was an accidental thing, because I don't think it was ever explained that way. But that's how it worked out almost every time, unless you were finding someone who used like a certain mantle thing and then they would switch to a different attack. That happened with some of the Elder Dragons. Ender Dragons, what a fucking, we got a Minecrafter here. But yeah, I like the predictability. One thing I didn't like was, you know, we have the Synchro Rush, kind of like Persona all-out attack, where if you stagger the monster, you get an all-out attack type thing. If you had multiple opponents, you couldn't do that, which was super annoying. It's like, if you were knocking them all down on one turn, why can't you do it? That was annoying. Oh, the build crafting was much better. You know, you could get gems that either just buffed you or gave you new moves that you could put on your weapons and armor. You could get them from chests, or you got them from fully upgrading an armor set. Now here's where I'll get a little nitpicky, because I 100% of the game. The fact that you don't get to see which gem you're getting or upgrading by finishing an armor set / weapon is super annoying, and it cost me a ton of time in the 100%. But that's neither here nor there. No matter. Take Feral Monsters, for example. A lot of endgame sets needed Feral Monster parts. Sorry, Invasive Monster. Yeah, Invasive Monster parts. Invasive Monsters are monsters you just scare off to get an endangered egg. So in the first area, that was Rathian. They're just monsters that aren't in the wild until you restore the habitat. For Invasive Monsters, you know, you have to kill them. They're super hard to kill. They're an end game thing. So I had a set for Invasive Monsters. I had a set for the Elder Dragons. Different builds for different scenarios. That was really fun, and something I didn't do in the first game. Even though they had gems, it was just not as interesting to me. I didn't really want to mess with the system. I guess we can go to Habitat Restoration. I really liked Habitat Restoration. I spent a ton of time in the first area. Each area, I was like just trying to restore the habitat because it just did something to my brain. That's possibly the best new feature, because every time I wanted to add someone to my team, I'd have to get their habitat up to S. And then along with that, if you, I can't remember what it was. I think it was if you killed every feral monster in the entire open zone, you would get like stat increases for the monsters that you get in that zone. So for example, you get 3 stars of attack and 3 stars of max HP. But if you had a monster from a different zone that you wanted to give those stats to, you could use these things. I think it was like an excursion thing, like a token thing, and you could just transfer the stats over. That was super cool. This is super unorganized. I don't care. I'm freestyling. I'm just going off what's getting fed to my brain. So yeah, I spent a ton of time doing that. And then you also had, as I said before, the invasive monsters that you beat in battle. Okay, the invasive monsters, they would each have their own gimmick. I really liked this. It was just something different instead of just fighting someone. And sometimes the clues were a little weird. Like the Seregios was, I'm gonna be honest, I searched that one up. I had no idea what was going on there, but most of them were, I was able to figure out by myself and felt good. It was like a little puzzle, something light, not really all that hard, most of them. But yeah, you would do that and you'd get the endangered monster, which that's also like possibly my favorite new aspect. I always love getting like just unlocking a new species, you know, like the rarest one. And then when you would get the endangered species, you'd be able to mutate them by increasing their level in the habitat or increasing their level and doing some other required thing, like have a certain amount of fanged wyverns in an area, which would get it to mutate. I thought that was super cool, and it'd give you these awesome monsters that I thought were unique to this game, but it turns out are from Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, or just Generations, I don't know. But I don't want to, oh fuck it, I'm spoiling, I don't give a fuck. You got like Thunderlord Zinogre. That's sick, bro. He's just cool, and I want to add that guy to my team. I don't care if he doesn't, like, I don't know. It ended up being, I ended up having a very good problem, which was I wanted to add too many sick ass monsters to my team. And you could build party sets, but to be honest, it was too much work to get them all to like level 99, and because I was in the end game, so it was too much work to level them all up and get the stats right and the moves right, you know, which I have. Now it reminds me, there's the Rite of Channeling. Holy disorganized. If anyone's watching this, shout out. Lord Bloha, are you there? The Rite of Channeling was super cool. That was in the first game, but I mean, you could like transfer moves or like passives that increase stats to your monster, and it was like a bingo. It was a 3x3 square, and if you get like tic-tac-toe matches up, bingo matches, you know what I'm saying? If you get those, then you get stat increases for whatever's in that line. So say you have 3 speed attacks, 3 fire speed attacks, in a diagonal line. You get fire attack up and you get speed attack up. So I had a lot of fun messing with that and beefing up my monsties. The monster selection itself was really good. As I said, I had trouble picking which ones I really wanted on my team. And I guess this kind of ties into the story too, but when you get to see, like, I'll just say some guys that were in the trailer, like Magna Malo or Arkveld or Ray Dow, dude. Like, I think Ray Dow's might have been my favorite. Just when you like see the environment changing and you know who's coming and then they swoop in, and that was so sick. And I'll give the story credit for that. The story was good when it came to giving us sick ass moments with sick ass monsters, and there were a lot of good quality of life features, like quick finish for battles that you're way ahead of the monster in level, or just killing them in the overworld, and the fast travel too. You just fast travel from anywhere. That was super nice. I think that's about it for combat and monsties though. Let's get into the actual fights in the game. It wasn't the hardest game ever. For the story, when I got to Arkveld, I was a little underleveled, so I left and leveled and came back. So if you were underleveled, the fights could be hard. But to be honest, I was doing so much side content because it was so much fun. Not the side quests. Let's talk about the side quests first. Let's just get this out of the way. They're shit. They're just about as shit as the side quests in any other Monster Hunter game. They're basically just go here, do this, come back. There's no story to the quest. I would compare it to Final Fantasy 16 side quests. And I don't really mind that because it's just something to do. And if the game's fun enough, then it can be fun. I'm not really calling them shit as in they weren't, like, they were annoying to do or anything. Sometimes they gave you unique fights, but most of the time they were just like, kill this monster, kill that monster, go find this person, and it would just be marked on the map and you just go from objective to objective. They weren't very good, but they provided more content, and that's kind of all you need. There were a lot of them. I did all of them because I got all the achievements. But they really weren't that bad, and they gave you an opportunity to level and just fight a little more, so it wasn't bad. We can move on though. As I was saying, the story fights, they weren't all that hard, but I was doing side content, so maybe if you beeline the main story, you're gonna get messed up. I would assume you would. I really don't like big monsters in Monster Hunter, and that's the same here. I didn't like, he was in the trailer fighting the mountain guy, the Elder Dragon, who, by the way, they reused, which pissed me off even more because it's like I already didn't like him in the story, and now he takes up a whole Elder Dragon slot, but I digress. Same with the final boss, but the final boss was better, and, you know, I get it, bro. We're not going to fight Arkveld as the final boss, so whatever. But most of the bosses, or the fights through the story, I really liked. The Feral monsters had a little less depth to them than I thought they would. I thought they'd switch it up a little more and give us more unique battles, but no, it was like sometimes I would even beat the monster without even breaking the feral part. It was pretty much the same. It was just wait till you can attack the feral part and then break it and then just kill the monster. But they were still fun. So I ended up being pretty happy with the fights in the story. I really liked the feral monsters in the area zones though, because some of them were way higher level than others. And you, like, for example, I couldn't beat the final feral monster in the first area until probably the third area. So it kind of gave you something to go back for, which was cool. And then you could unlock a little more to do in that area. And yeah, just killing tough ass monsters to unlock that area to restore the habitat in. I just really like that system, found it a lot of fun. It speaks to me specifically, so appreciate y'all for putting that in the game. And the final fights in the game would be the Elder Dragon fights. This is after you beat the main story. I'm just gonna spoil this shit because fuck it. The first area, what the hell was his name? He was super cool. He's the Monster Hunter World guy. I can't even remember. I can't even spoil it if I tried. Shit. Okay, what was his name? Fuck it. The Water Elder Dragon in the first area. He was sick. He was fairly hard. It was a super fun fight. And oh my god, dude. I did not think they were going to let me have an Elder Dragon in my party. I thought that would just be something where they say you can't use it because it's an Elder Dragon. But no, you kill him and then you can use him in your party. And it's at the end of the game, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, if you do them in order, you'll be able to use that guy in some other battles And plus I did the achievements, so I was able to use them a little more. Either way, these were two out of 4 of these were the best fights in the game. Some of the best fights in the game. We'll get to the other 2, but yeah, the first fight, super cool. Being able to use them after was awesome. One thing I found annoying was the way you get these guys to spawn to fight them is you would kill monsters at night, or you would just wait till it got dark enough. I don't know which one it was. I would always kill monsters while waiting, so maybe I did that for no reason, but it would spawn a random one in each of the 4 areas. So like you could kill, or you could wait in the first area and then it spawned it in the 3rd area, and that was just unnecessarily annoying because for some reason when I got to the last one it just refused to spawn, so it just wasted my time. But that's just a little nitpicky. The first guy, awesome, as I've said like 13 times by now. The second guy, just gonna say it, I raged out super hard. It was the Narwas from Monster Hunter Rise. They pissed me off so bad. It was a duo fight. That's one of the reasons why I even brought up not being able to all-out attack when they're down. Like when they're down and you attack them, you get automatic crits and you do a bunch of damage, so it's not that bad. But bro, I just like, fuck those guys. Fuck them. I'm just gonna keep going on their fight, dude. One shots, one shots, one shots. What the fuck was Mountainfall, dude? Listen, I didn't sit there. I'm not one of those guys where I lose the battle and I'm like, okay, let's figure out what went wrong here and let me adjust my build. Okay, I actually adjusted my build a bit, but it was like I fought them the first time, got fucked up so bad, and then left for a while and then came back with a new build. Bro, these guys they just kept one-shotting me over and over and over again. I could probably put clips in where I'm raging out, I'm screaming. Mountainfall again! Oh my god! I got to the end twice where they're like one shot and then I get one shot, or like both of my guys get one shot and I lose all my hearts and die. Yo, I appreciate that fight. You didn't expect that. I appreciate that fight. I wouldn't have liked to leave the game without having something that pushed me and made me rage out. Because without that fight, there wouldn't have been anything that pushed me or made me rage out, because the rest of the Elder Dragons were pretty easy. The 3rd area, the worst one, it was the mountain guy again, the tentacle mountain, whatever the fuck he is. It was actually not like a bad fight. It was more fun as an Elder Dragon, and he was pretty easy, so whatever. The main reason I don't like that they reused him is because 1, it means 1 less new monster, and 2, because he's such a big monster, you don't get to use him. So it was just kind of a waste to me. And then the final area was Velkhana. Now that's sick. Obviously Velkhana's sick. I actually beat this one on accident. Like, I can't remember why I went to fight him. I think just to add him to my Monsterpedia, and then I just killed him. His music was probably the best in the game though. Super good. The fight was also super fun. He's the one I was talking about with the mantles. Like, whatever mantle he used, he would start using a different attack, so it gave you something to memorize and think about during the battle. And he didn't have any bullshit artificial one-shot difficulty like Gnar was, so he was one of the best fights in the game. And you get to use him after you beat him. You get the egg. Always love that. So that's all the Elder Dragons. I really like them. As I said, I would keep the Narwas. I would just replace the mountain guy. I would keep the Narwas. Thank you for giving me a challenge, guys. I appreciate you. And then last, but certainly not least to me, and maybe the least to others, we'll talk about a few things I'm interested in, starting with the soundtrack. As I said, Velkhana, sick music. The battle music was good too. Oh, fuck this. I'm going back. I'm going all the way back to the start. Dude, that fucking Palico. I told you in my first impressions of the demo, I told you that fucker was going to be annoying. Dude, every time you finish a quest, that motherfucker goes, Princess! God damn. Telling you to turn some shit in. You don't think I fucking know, bro? You think I did that quest for no reason? Princess! You can turn in your fucking quest. Oh, really? I was just doing it because I just said that. I don't even know what I said, so I know you don't. That shit pissed me off, bro. It was constant, dude. Don't play this game in English. Don't play this game in English. It's just fucking annoying, bro. The voice actors are annoying, and that Palico was a bitch. Back to it. So what were we talking about? The soundtrack? Yeah, the battle music was good. Velkhana's music was super good. Besides that, nothing to write home about. I really wish there was better music. I know Monster Hunter doesn't usually have like a ton of standout tracks for me personally. In Wilds, there were a few tracks. I think it was like, I don't know. Well, I don't know if Arch-Tempered Archveld's music is different than Archveld's, but when I was fighting him, I noticed his track was super good. But yeah, I only noticed how good the battle music was. And it's not like super good. Like it's not Warriors of Valor, is that what it's called in Metaphor? Or like, what's the Persona 3 one? Fuck it, dude, it doesn't matter. But it was good. I noticed it was good. And Volcanos. Besides that, yeah. And this is important to me, bro, because music just like, it makes me feel something, you know? And when your game makes me feel something, it just like, it just puts you on a rocket ship up, bro. Music is one of the biggest things that I loved in Final Fantasy 16, and why it was my, well, okay. It and Alan Wake 2 are my games of the year in 2023. I'm not gonna choose between them, bro. Fuck you. Either way, no matter. What was I saying? So yeah, I wish they had some more standout tracks. Either way, it was good enough. The art style, dude. So as I was playing this game, I loved the art style so much, and I was like, why do I love this art style but wouldn't want this in a Monster Hunter game? And okay, I thought about it for a bit, and here's what I got. In Monster Hunter, one of the things I like the most about the game is the fact that it really like feels like you're hunting monsters. If this was possible, right? Because obviously no one's carrying around a fucking 2-ton sword and fighting a big ass monster solo, right? But if this were possible, this is what it would look like and this is what it would feel like. You know what I'm saying? And if you had an art style like this, it's not realistic, so it's not what it looks like and it's not what it would feel like. Just like the armor sets, right? You get an armor set in Monster Hunter Wilds, it feels like that's the armor set you would make with that monster's body parts. So I think the realism really adds to the games. But in this game, like you're like riding monsters and you're commanding them to attack and you're like taking turns. It doesn't feel as real. So you don't need that extra realism. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass right now, but I feel like this is true. So you don't need that extra realism. It doesn't really add to the game as much. So being able to have this art style, which I already loved, like the cell shaded kind of look that it has, but also just being able to see all these monsters that I've known for so long in this different art style, just a new look. Like some of these monsters just look so good in this art style, but I wouldn't want it in a mainline game, but it works so well in this game. And it also added to other aspects of the game, like the endangered monsters. That's why I liked it so much when I found an invasive monster and figured out how to beat it so that I could get that egg and then I could see the egg hatch into not only a new monster. I'm a little congested. Not only a new monster, but a new monster and a new art style. Obviously not new in the game. You know what I'm saying? Super awesome. Super cool. And now for the last thing. Click off now. I'm going to talk about the achievements. Listen, I'm going to make a video about this. I shouldn't even say that, bro. Have I said this before? I want to make a, well, do I even want to? If I wanted to, then I would have, right? In my brain, there's an idea of making a video about achievements, just in general, because as the title will be, they're so underrated, bro. The most underrated aspect in video games. Whatever, something like that. They're so underrated. Good achievements add to a game so much. Let me give you an example. Cuphead. And this is for me specifically. This isn't gonna be for everyone else. People can play video games for fun. I can't just play video games for fun. I love Dragon's Dogma 2. I played it, beat the main story. I got all the achievements. I want to play it again, but there's nothing I could do that would make me enjoy it anymore because there's nothing to do in the game now that I haven't done unless I did something like a challenge run, which is something that gave me a lot more time than something like Elden Ring. I always need a goal. And achievements are such a good goal, but there's a balance, man. You don't want to make it like, get every single, like, bro, imagine if Breath of the Wild, you had to get every single, what are they called? Kodakus or something? The fuck are those things called? The green guys. Imagine if you had to get every green guy. I actually would probably get every green guy if I like the game enough. Fuck it, that's a bad example. Kill like 3 trillion enemies in Warhammer or something. Those cringy ass achievements that are just grindy achievements. Dark Souls is a fucking, Dark Souls, you've sinned. You fucking sinned. This is why I don't have the Dark Souls achievements. I only have Elden Ring. I wish Elden Ring's achievements were a little harder, so that's not like an example of great achievements, but it's better than the shitty ass, grindy, annoying ass achievements that Dark Souls has. I digress. Look, there's a balance you need to strike, and it adds so much to a game for me because I didn't even give my examples. Take Cuphead. Cuphead. you beat the game. And honestly, Cuphead is one of those games where I can just play it again because I love it so much. But it's not something I would like do all the time, you know? But if you add achievements that are like get S rank and, or what, I think it was A rank in every area, get an S rank, kill King Dice without taking a hit of damage, that kind of thing. Dude, that added so much to the game. And now every time I look at Cuphead in my library, because I sort by achievements collected, because I like seeing my favorite games with the little ribbon at the bottom. Sue me, dude. Now every time I look at Cuphead, I think about Cuphead and I think about the achievements because it was so much fun and added so much to the game. Same thing with Dragon's Dogma 2. When I look at Dragon's Dogma 2, I look at Dragon's Dogma 2 and I think about how good the game was and the achievements. It's always with the achievements. 100% of this game, I'm not Mortismal out here. I don't know how he does it in like 2 days. It took me a bit, like 60 to 70 hours. The achievements weren't good because they were just like the most generic, boring, and sometimes grindy achievements. They weren't that grindy to where it's like I'm mad at them, but as I said before, you don't get to see what gems you get when you fully upgrade a set or a weapon. You had to collect all unique gems, so that was just annoying. You had to do all side quests. That was just kind of like that was fine. That one's not even a bad example, but there were a lot of side quests and they weren't that good. You had to get all the kinship animations, which I didn't even talk about. Fuck, dude. The kinship skills in this game are like one of the best things they did. I've said this about how many things now. How many one of the best things can there be? How about they're all just the best? Dude, they had a unique kinship skill animation for each monster in this game. Each like main monster. So Nargacuga and Green Nargacuga, they had the same animation. There would be like differences in color or something, but they're pretty much the same. Dude, that is a ton of work. I didn't think they would do that. I'm very impressed, and I have to give them a ton of credit, and I'd love to give them a ton of credit for something like that. My favorites would probably be, I really liked Brachydios, bro. His was so sick, and Kuliakuo, I think, had a sick one too. He had like the Superman shot of his face. Those were like more funny ones, but I mean, they were super unique and made me literally laugh out loud. So they were probably my favorites, but there were some awesome ones, like Malzeno's was pretty sick. Arkveld's was cool. You know, there were all the coolest monsters got the coolest animations. Who would have guessed? But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was actually happy for that achievement because I didn't see Brachydios's or Kuliaku's, and I wouldn't have if I didn't do that achievement. So shout out that achievement. So it's not really about them being too grindy or hard because they weren't. It was more just about them being not interesting. They just weren't very interesting. Like there was one where you had to kill, I don't know, like 300 to 500 monsters in the overworld. It's just numbers achievements, nothing unique. And I wish they were because it would have added something to the game. But look, the game was good enough already, man. I said before it was in the running for game of the year for me. After playing it, it's not. How do I know that when I haven't even played? It's probably the best game I've played this year. Probably it is. It is the best game I've played this year. But Control Resonant is gonna just blow it out of the water. I want to make 2 videos on Control. I want to make a video on Control and a video on Control Resonant. I probably won't, knowing me, but that game's gonna blow it out of the water, man. So, but I still love this game a lot, and it'll be like, I don't know what, maybe the best RPG, because I don't think Control Resonant will be counted as an RPG, even though they're trying to add more RPG elements. And I don't think, or I guess open world RPG for GTA 6. I don't know, dude. It'll be the best turn-based game I play this year, probably. So you'll get that award in the U award show at the end of the year. Look, the game was super good. For some reason, it doesn't have that special factor to me, like say Dragon's Dogma 2 did 2 years ago. What was my game of the year last year? Oh, Expedition 33. Damn, that's a bad forget. That's a bad forget from me. It didn't have the special factor like Expedition 33 or Dragon's Dogma 2. Those things had something special, like something indescribable to them. This didn't have that indescribable aspect, but it was super good, and I felt things during this game. When I saw Ray Dow come out, like I felt something. When I saw that final cutscene after the final boss, I felt something, you know? So it just didn't make me feel enough. Grown-ass man talking about feelings. But it was still super good, and I'd recommend it. I got a ton of time out of it, a ton of fun out of it. And does this video suck? Most likely. 37 minutes of just rambling. Bye bye.